Okay, here we go. Excellent. Okay, and I'm going to introduce Nicolas Estrada. Let's see. Nicolas Estrada was born in Medellin, Colombia in 1972, but he discovered his artistic pathway in Barcelona, a city he originally came to for entirely different reasons. Until that point, he had been an inhabitant of the business world, where he was involved in marketing. His destiny, however, was to follow another path, creating one-off jewelry artworks that were meaningful, unique, and infused with stories that speak to the senses. At Barcelona's Joya and Massana schools, he came into contact for the first time with the jewelry world, in which he discovered that his efforts opened up infinite possibilities for expression. He has studied widely, learning the techniques of gemology, setting and engraving, and producing research and works through his involvement in areas such as the traditional Berber jewelry of Cabaya, filigree techniques learned in the Colombian town of Santa Cruz de Mompox, and master's level studies in gemstone cutting and jewelry design at the University of Trier in Germany. The subjects that Nicolas takes inspiration from address the humanity and sensibility of those who view them. His pieces do not seek to defend or take position on situations that are undeniably central and significant in his country. Instead, they are a pure and clear gaze of an artist who seeks, through the tools offered by his artistic work, to provide new perspective. He offers an extraordinary and provocative ode to irreverence and reflection that is expressed in the aura of the craft undertaken, judiciously and based on profound thought. Okay. Nicolas is the author of 5 books on jewelry published by Promo Press in several languages and distributed worldwide. New rings, new earrings, new necklaces, and a revised and updated edition of his first book on rings, which was co-published by Thames and Hudson. The most recently, Brooches 400 Contemporary Jewelry Designs, published in 2018. Let me just admit. He is currently working on new bracelets to be published by Promo Press in 2020 and will be available for sales worldwide in its English and Spanish versions by 2021. Nicolas lives in Barcelona. The city has allowed him to be who he wanted and do what he wanted. He has his own studio where he shares his craft and experiences with other jewelers who lived in and are passing through this wonderful city. Welcome, Nico. How are you? Are you on mute? You're on mute still, Nicolas. I think you can unmute yourself. Everybody else is muted.
Okay.
Wonderful. Hello, welcome. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Yvonne. Thank you very much for the invitation. I am very happy to be here.
Good, I'm glad. Well, let's start out with talking a little bit about, you know, life in Barcelona right now. Spain is one of the hardest hit countries by the coronavirus, and I know that that's impacted you and your work. Maybe you can start out with a little bit of that. And I know that you have some images that you'd like me to share. Would you like me to do that now, or do you want to wait a minute?
I am hearing you sometimes a little bit robotic, but I'm going to talk about the life in Barcelona now.
Perfect.
So life here right now is very confusing. The city is almost empty. People started to go out again this Saturday for the first time in almost 50 days. But still the energy that the city had before is not working again. People are afraid. Lots of police outside, businesses are closed. When you walk around the city, it's extremely, extremely difficult to see everything so empty. For a long time, we wanted to have like a city without so many tourists, and we got a city almost without anybody. This is extremely tough to see. So I don't know. It's very difficult for all of us. It has shocked me a lot. I just started to come to the studio last week, and it was very difficult to start again. It has been very difficult.
Nicolas, I'm going to mute everybody again, and then you're going to have to unmute yourself. So if you can.
I'm sorry, I don't hear you well.
Oh, perfect. That's strange. Okay, I was showing the images of Spain, of Barcelona. Okay, so you were talking about, do you think it's the earphones? Do you think it's your earphones? You're on mute now. Let me unmute you. Nicolas, can you hear me at all right now? I think he's frozen. We thought yesterday there was the thought that maybe there was going to be a problem with the internet. It looks like maybe there is. Okay, Nicolas, are you there? Let me try one more time. I don't even see him. It looks like maybe he dropped off. Well, this is the kind of glitch that happens sometimes. We did a lovely test yesterday, and I wish you were all on that. Carlos, I just saw you. Good to see you. Yes, hello. It looks like Nicolas has dropped off. Let me see if he's trying to get a hold of me. No. Well, these are the images until he comes back. I think I was sharing some of these images of Barcelona, and this is what it looks like right now. And I'm sure a lot of you have been to Barcelona and you've seen, oh, maybe he's back. Let's see. And you know how crowded it is. And I do remember hearing a lot of oh, this is his new book that's coming out. So we can take a look at this for a minute or two. This is the bracelets book. That's actually, it was due out by this year, but because of the coronavirus, unfortunately, it's been on hold. Let's see. Maybe he's trying to communicate with me. Let's see. Okay, there he is. He's trying to connect again, everyone. So we'll take a look at this for a minute here. Some of these images, over 400 images that will be available, I believe I said January 2021, it sounds like. So maybe 6 to 8 months after the fact. An incredible amount of jewelry that's going to be inside this incredible book. And he's going to talk a little bit about how he started with the books. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'll keep admitting people. There he is. He's coming on. I think that will work. I do think that it's his connectivity specifically. It is possible, because we haven't had this problem before. We only have 200 people on right now.
Okay, oh, sorry.
Beautiful.
Okay, so maybe it's because it's too many people. I don't know.
Well, we only have 209. That's a possibility. So I could take everybody off the camera. We could ask everybody to turn off their camera. If you want to do that, everybody, except for you, Nicolas, maybe that will help.
Look, I already closed the internet, and I am doing this with the phone. Maybe my internet is not good enough, so I don't know.
This sounds good. This sounds great. Let's get going.
Okay, yeah. So let's keep going. Perfect.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Apologies. So everything is cool now.
Everything is cool now. Wonderful. Okay. So This is
I
just
was
the
so
way
worried.
this is just the way it is. This is the way it goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you were talking about Barcelona right now. Talk about, I know you haven't been out for how many days? 50 days? This was like your first week out, right?
Yeah, so I was confined for around 50 days. I came to the studio last week because there was huge rain, so we have a little bit of flooding. So I came to check that everything was fine. And I have been trying to start again to work, to get my rhythm, but it has been very, very difficult because the situation here, like when you see all the businesses closed, people are afraid, keeping the distance, like everybody, when you go to the supermarket, you feel that the other person is going to infect you. This has created very, very difficult energy in the city. So it has been very tough, I think, for everybody.
Well, you were logging back on, Nico. I showed the images of the pictures you sent me of Barcelona, and you were taking those as you were walking to the studio. Is that right?
Yes, I was like, my studio is 40 minutes walk away from my apartment. So I came walking to sense the city, and I felt like if I was in The Walking Dead. I mean, everything was totally empty. I felt like a criminal. I was with my permission to come to the studio because I am self-employed. I thought police were going to stop me and find me. Nothing happened. But when you go out in the street, you feel like you are doing something against the law. This is extremely difficult. This I never felt in this city before. And I think everybody is feeling the same.
Everyone's feeling the same. But you're in your studio now, and you've been coming every day for about a week now, right?
For about a week now, yes.
Yes. Okay.
I am not concentrated. I am not creative, but I try to come here and spend time here so I can change environment and I start to feel the materials again to get sense of working because this was very difficult for all of us.
Yes, I can imagine. So why don't we start with, oops, someone has their, I'm going to mute you, Martha Gomez. Nico, why don't you walk us around your studio? Maybe we can visit some of the materials. We can look at some of your work. You've pulled out work for us, right?
Okay, yes, I have some work for you.
And we know that you
So,
haven't been working that much, but you've got some older pieces for us to look at.
yeah, so this is my studio. I share the place with a jeweler from Algeria. He's called Karim. We do the setup of the studio together. His, his working place is here. And this is my working place. So this is my bench with all my tools. So this is where all the creation goes on. Is this slow enough or is it very fast?
Perfect. I think it's perfect.
Okay. So I have here all my books, all my materials, all my tools, my flyers, everything. I like to keep everything very handy, very close to me. And I have some work that I prepared for all of you, not too much. I have work, not so much work here. I was going to have 2 exhibitions that didn't happen, but the material was already there. So I am going to start with pieces that I made long time ago, and then I will come to pieces that are much more recent.
Martha Gomez, can you please mute yourself? I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to find you. It's tough to do. Martha, let's see. Okay, we've got you mute. Okay, go ahead, Nico. Go ahead.
Okay, so you want me to start to talk about the pieces?
Yes, please.
Okay, so so in the beginning, when I came from Colombia, I was a very angry person. And when you are with a lot of anger, you can do a couple of things. Like some kids in the United States, they take a gun and they go kill all the classmates. And when we become artists and jewelers, what we do is try to put that anger into our work. So my angry work started to look like this, more or less. I come from a very violent city, a city that was almost destroyed by drug dealers in the 80s and 90s. And when I came here, I realized how angry I was. And I started to get rid of that anger by working in my bench. So my anger was mostly towards the violence that Colombia was living and also towards religion. So I started to do rosaries that are like very Catholic symbol for praying. So I crucified that Christ that was omnipresent in all our houses into 2 artisans. And then little by little, the guns started to go away and became little phantoms. So here, let me see. Here you see you have like 2 agates, and you have the symbol of the Kalashnikov, but the Kalashnikov is not there, it's a ghost. Also you have it like here, in the machete. So you have the symbol of the machete, but the machete is not there. It's just the carving of the piece. So the piece became a ghost. Then I started to get rid of all these very graphic symbols. Sorry for the noise. And I started to do these fragile pieces in quartz. So here, these pieces show the fragility of the human, because if they fall to the floor, they are going to break. They are made of rock crystal, empty, I carved myself. And these pieces show the fragility of the inner parts of the body. For me, they resemble like gas. So this is what they are called, it's called gas. So this is one brooch. This is another brooch, also from rock crystal. So it's hollow, it's translucent, and it's very fragile.
How does that go on? How is that worn, Nico?
Here is the needle.
Okay.
So you have the needle here.
Okay.
Can you see?
Yes.
So it's silver, gold, this part here, and the needle in stainless steel.
Okay.
Same one here, same thing here. And the third one. So here even, I got some inclusion of the rock crystal. So when I was carving, I realized that the inclusion came out, and this is what I like, what I love from the material. When you start to get surprised from things that you didn't even imagine. So this was wonderful. So these pieces, in the beginning, they look like this. So from something like this, I managed to carve these pieces here.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. And Rita Soto is exclaiming, "Amo estas piezas." And Dominica Durtan is saying, what a master. So, and Fran Linden wants to know, what tool are you using to carve? How are you using it?
Well, these carvings I did when I was doing my master's in stone carving in Ida Oberstein in Germany.
In Germany, okay.
Yeah, so when you carve stones, you need to do, this is also rock crystal. So from here, this is a smoky quartz, you get this.
Okay.
So it's hollowed. So when you carve stones, you need a lot of water, a lot of water. You carve with diamond tools. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, what you learn in the school in Germany is very difficult for me to apply here in my studio because I don't have the tools, and it's very expensive to have like a proper stone carving workshop. But I try to do my best. I can do small things here, but nothing as big as this. This was done when I was in Germany.
So for
Can you see it?
instance, how long, Brian Lang is asking, how long does it take you to carve the pendants? And how is, is that process meditative, or is it frustrating because it takes so long?
It's so carving, it's like about a week. So this is a lot of meditation and a lot of frustration, because sometimes when you are about to end, the quartz breaks and you cannot do anything about it, because you cannot control the material. So you have to start all over again, or you have to improvise and maybe let the material talk back to you and see how many did you break? So I broke a lot.
A lot. That's what somebody's asking, how many? And then I just want to emphasize that in Germany, this was at the University of Trier?
Yeah, University of Trier, and it's called, it's in a small town called Ida Oberstein. Okay. So Germany has two places that specialize in jewelry. So you have Pforzheim for metals and Ida Oberstein for stone.
Okay. Did you learn German while you were there?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Because the school was in English. The thing is that this school, even though there are some Germans, I think it's much more targeted to international students. Because if you are in Germany, you want to go to live in Berlin, you want to go to live in Munich, maybe you want to go to Frankfurt, but this is like a small town in the middle of nowhere. So why do you want to go there as a German? But for example, but if you are in Spain, this is like an upgrade. But if you are in Germany, maybe this is like a downgrade. So I don't know. Like Germans who go there are mostly like undergrad, but all the grad students most of the grad students are international from all around. So then I started to combine, this is a seed that I get from Colombia. It's called vegetable ivory or tagua. It's a nut that I use a lot in my work. And I started to combine that nut with crystal. So I got this ring. The upper part is in tagua. The vegetable ivory is also called tagua. So it's also hollow in the inside. And the lower part, the ring, is in rock crystal.
So Nico, back to the other pendant pieces, Barbara Gifford is wondering why those specific shapes. Do they mean something? You're a storyteller. Tell us what they mean.
Which pieces? The ones that I showed?
I think the first ones that you showed, yes.
The guns?
The pendant pieces that are right there.
Yes. Like this one?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, so this is what I was telling you. So I went from the very graphic, violent pieces with guns to a more conceptual pieces of fragility and violence. So these pieces are called guts, like the inner parts of your body. So some people here see like sea creatures and stuff like that, but for me, these are inner parts of your body who were destroyed, maybe by bullets, maybe by violence, maybe by, I don't know, like punches. So everything here was in a certain way destroyed by violence. So this is why the pieces are like that.
Okay. And you had your own personal experience with this, seeing and witnessing this kind of violence.
Yes, because I was in Medellin in the time, like what you see in Narcos right now is what my generation grew up with in that Medellin. So we had many, many experiences, like some of them were terrible. We had to run, there were bombs, shootings, dead people. So this is something that marks you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, so it's with you. What other pieces? Yeah. Well, maybe you can
Okay.
talk a little bit too about, you know, how you made your way to Barcelona, and you had a past life before in business before you became a jeweler. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that if you'd like.
Okay, so I go back to the bench.
But we do want to see that work because that looks really interesting.
Ah,
We want to see
so
it
so I
all.
can. Okay, you want to see it all. Okay.
Yes.
So I was working in Colombia. So I graduated from business in a university in the United States from a college. And I went, and when I was in the United States, I was living with a guy from Serbia, a guy from Barcelona, and a guy from Japan. We became very good friends, but we spread apart when we graduated from the university. So I went back to Colombia. I worked as head of treasury and funds for a bank. Then I was working in a knitting company, and then I went to consumer goods. And at the end, I was totally burned out. So my sister was living in Barcelona. My friend from university was getting married. So I came to Barcelona with the excuse of holidays, maybe to apply for a master's in marketing and to attend the wedding of my friend. And when I arrived here, I fell in love with the city and I stayed here. I started to do the master's in marketing, but I needed something else to do. I wasn't allowed to work because I didn't have a working permit. So I always wanted to study jewelry, but in Colombia, at that time, it's not like today that kids can become cooks or jewelers or like things with the hands. At that time, in my city, if you were very creative, you could become an architect or you could become, like industrial designer, but jeweler, never. But I always liked jewelry. So when I was here, my sister, she knew a guy who knew a woman who got a jewelry school. So I applied to the jewelry school and she accepted me. So I was doing the jewelry school in the morning and the master's in marketing in the afternoon. Then I came across an exhibition of very specific jewelry that I never saw before in my life. So when I went to that exhibition, I said, like, I thought to myself, this is exactly the kind of work that I want to do from now on. And when I started to look at the pieces, most of those pieces were made by people in Massana school. At the time, I didn't know anything about Massana. I didn't know about Ramon. So I went to Massana and I spoke to Ramon and I told him what I saw and what I wanted. And he said, well, transfer and I will get you here. So I was accepted in Massana school. I finished my master's in marketing and I was in Massana school now. When I graduated from Massana school, my project was one of the best. I started winning prizes here. I got the prize in Marseille also at that time. So it was like life was showing me that it was okay if I changed my life. It was very difficult. My father put a lot of money into my education. I was doing very well in the business world, but I didn't want that anymore. And little by little, I started to change life and I became a jeweler. Now I have been 20 years as a jeweler.
And your family is happy for you.
My family is very happy. I think at the beginning it was very difficult for them because imagine my sister was already the artist of the family, and I think families with one artist they say, okay, it's enough. I was supposed to be the businessman of the family, and I turned it also into an artist. So for my father, it was not a lot of fun in the beginning, but when he saw an exhibition I had here in the city, when he saw I started with the books, when he saw that I was very happy, he got happy for me as well. But I think it was very tough for him in the beginning.
Wonderful. We're getting a lot of comments about how inspiring your story is, about your artistic career, and that you talk about it so well, and that your work is beautiful and a great extension of your inner thoughts. That's from Elpis Chef. Maybe we can look a little more at your work, and then we can talk about your books too, because that's something that's a big part of your life. And maybe,
So the work I showed you is more artistic work. Work that I make a living with is a little bit more commercial. So I can show you a little bit of that. So I work with a lot of stones. I try to make things a little bit different, but these are a little bit more commercial pieces. So I also work with like lots of rock crystals. I try to do settings that are a little bit more alternative. I try to get stones that have cuts that are not so traditional. Can you see that well?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Yes.
So I try to put a lot of color. So I think in my jewelry, I am a person who tries to do as many things as possible, but all in the jewelry world. So if I have to make jewelry that is a little bit more commercial, I have no problem. If I have to teach, I have no problem. If I have to write books, I have no problem. But I try to keep everything into the jewelry world. So it's like having a little bit of diversity, but all in the same field. Because living only from making jewelry, like one specific kind of jewelry, for me, is very difficult.
So that we have another question that ties into this. Bryna Pump is asking, how do you manage to divide your time between being a maker and an author? It seems that you're able to have great pleasure from doing both, but your whole life is about jewelry, but it is tough because these projects are really big.
Yeah, but like my life is jewelry. I go in the motorcycle, I am thinking about jewelry. I am in the toilet, I am thinking about jewelry. I am sleeping, I am thinking about how to solve a case. So jewelry it's not like when you are in an office, you are, okay, let's get the budget to promote this brand. And then you go home, you watch Netflix and you see something else and you forget totally about the problem that you had in your office. So jewelry is not only my craft, jewelry is also my life. I live for jewelry and I live from jewelry. So I am always thinking about jewelry. I like, where can I get this stone? How can I pay for this stone? How can I get this client? How do I promote myself? How do I make my Instagram look much better? How am I going to reach this gallery or to meet this person? So, and the thing is that for me, for example, so how to become an ed, like publishing, this craft has given me so much satisfaction in my life that in a certain way, the books are a way to give back to the field because we need to promote this kind of jewelry much more. Everybody knows what is Cartier, everybody knows what is Bulgari, but not everybody knows who is Ruth Peters or who is Philip Sayed, or like the big names in our field are contained in our field. They are not public figures. And I think when you make books that are also commercial, you get the field, you promote the field into a different kind of public. And this is what I try to do with the books. Well, not me, this is what the publisher does. I just create books that can sell well, not only in the jewelry world, that they sell well in a bigger world.
And that's your marketing that comes into play there, right? All of your business background.
No, because I don't sell books. I like in jewelry, there are people who make books and sell the books they make. So, for example, I need to promote my work. I go to a German publishing company. I tell them, look, how much is this book? I get the money. They make the book for me. And then I go everywhere selling the book I made about myself. I got a publishing company that makes art books from all the fields, photography, architecture, sculpture, design. and they hired me to do books about jewelry. So this publisher, he was selling in the beginning very well all the books from Lark, like 500 Rings and all the books that we already know, that we all know, that we all have, and that inspired us so much. So he told me, look, I want to make a book like Lark. And I said, no, we are not going to make a book like Lark because Lark has their book. It's like when people come and tell me, look, I want this ring from Cartier. And I said, no, you go to buy the ring from Cartier. I am going to make a ring from Cartier. You go and buy it. And if you don't have the money, you save and then you wait and you get it. Mm-hmm. So I told him, let's make a book inspired in this book, but with a very different approach. And we made the ring book. And then it sold very well. So we made the earrings book. And then we got also a collection of books inspired in Lark, but with a very different language and very different kind of pieces and different time in history as well.
Okay. So let me just stop you for a moment because the comments are coming in like crazy and I want to read some of them to you.
No problem.
Karen Arredondo has said, the world needs more people like Nico who loves what he does and represents that passion and history in each of his pieces. And then after that, Raisa Bump says, yes. Paula Estrada, I agree. Susan Crow, oh my gosh, I totally relate. Fran Linden, oh, that's a question I'm going to ask in a second. Paula Estrada, we need more people in love with jewelry. Liliana Henao, oh my gosh. Bryna Pump, so happy to hear this. And Taze, congrats for the devotion. Liliana Platis, I totally relate. Susan Cummins says, I couldn't agree more about the importance of books. Absolutely. So, so obviously, this is a large majority of, this is a sample of the people that are listening. Everybody is very excited about your passion and for the books that you're creating. Maybe we can spend a little time looking at some of them. I know you gave me the cover and some more some images. So maybe you can talk about your latest book while I show those.
Yeah. So the latest book was going to be up. Well, it's about bracelets. The book is ready. It was going to be published, and it was going to be in the market in 15 days. But unfortunately, it didn't happen because we were all, our life changes with the virus. So it was difficult for the publisher to print in China. It was difficult for the publisher to print in Turkey. And he was also sure that if he managed to print, it was going to be very difficult to sell this book in this time, in this specific time. So he decided. I was very sad. This was also very difficult news for me in the beginning of the confinement. So this is why I was also a little bit depressed. But he decided to release the book in 2021. And I think this was a very wise decision, even though it was a very hard punch for me. But I think he's right. I mean, you have to wait. We couldn't promote the book in Ishmook. We couldn't promote the book mostly in anywhere because most of the books that are commercial, they are promoted in a show in Frankfurt in February. So the show didn't even happen. So so things didn't work.
Yeah.
So it's going to be released in 2021. So this book is around 400, more than 400 photographs, 400 pieces, and it features the work of 200 jewelers from all around the world. So we have people from Thailand, like this one here. We have people from China, from Korea, from Asia all over, Latin America, the United States, Canada, Europe, all around. From Asia, we have Africa. Africa is always the continent that I struggle the most to get good information from. But maybe there is somebody from South Africa, from Algeria, but not so much. but let's say that the other continents are very well represented. So we have people from Colombia, from Chile, from Argentina, from Brazil, Mexico, Costa Rica. We have two wonderful essays. One is from Helen Britton. She made a wonderful review about bracelets. We have another one from Barbara Schmidt. It's like a little tale, short tale about a woman who gets a bracelet and she travels around. So I think this is a very, very nice book. It's divided in 4 parts with different kind of bracelets. So I think you are going to enjoy it. It's mostly a book for inspiration.
So tell us a little bit about your process. How long, what's your timeline? You know, when do you place the call? How do people find out about this? And then how long does it take you? I mean, I would imagine if you're showing 400 pieces, how many calls are you getting? 10,000?
Well, for necklaces is the biggest one. I got 11,000 images.
And you choose those, right?
And I do all the work. Yes, I make the call. I get the applications. I open the applications. That is like the most difficult thing. I do the selection, and then I hand in like a draft to the publisher, like a dummy with everything in each page, and then he makes what I did. He makes everything beautiful. Like I get little photographs and in each page, and then he decides what is bigger, what is smaller, how to arrange each page, like each piece in each page. But I tell him what goes where. So for bracelets, in the beginning, I was extremely scared because I thought it's going to be impossible to make a book about bracelets, because nobody is going to apply. So I was very, very scared. This was going to be in a certain way the last book of a collection. So I wanted to do something very beautiful, but I knew it was going to be very difficult. And at the end, I got like 4,500 bracelets. So I was also shocked. And it was a very beautiful surprise because many of the people who sent bracelets were not the jewelers I knew from other books. So there is a lot of new names in this book, a lot of new pieces, fresh pieces, because I think the jewelers that make bracelets are very different from the jewelers that make rings or earrings or necklaces. This is like different kind of jewelry, different kind of people. So it was a wonderful surprise, very difficult because I had to make the selection in the summer. Summer here is very hot. In the meantime, I had like a tragedy in my family. So I lost inspiration, but at the end, everything worked beautifully. And I think this is a very beautiful book. So the images are amazing.
Yes. So I would imagine you learned from the books that came before you, like the Lark books, which are no longer being published anymore, but they're not making new ones anymore. So you learned a lot from those, and you've made, maybe yours are a little bit different in the sense that they come in different languages. They're translated in different languages. What other things
And for me, the books from Lark are very dark. Like all the photographs are like dark in a certain way. It's like different language. I wanted things that were much more fun. For me, Lark is very serious. Like everything is very serious. In a certain way, very academic. They are made by different people because it's only Lark, the publisher. It's Martha Levan, who is the one who organizes everything, but she invites one person to do the selection. And in my books, everything is made by me. So this is like a one-man job in a certain way.
And it's a labor of love.
It's a labor of love, yeah, because I mean, I get commissions for when they sell the book, but this you do for the love of art. And also because now, after these books, everywhere I travel, there is a jeweler who I can have a coffee with, or who invites me to her studio, or that I can talk to and get recommendations for places that I want to see. So these have given me like a lot of networking, and this I love.
Okay. Let me share with you some of the comments. I do have somebody from South Africa, Marina Lau. She's saying if you need anything from there to let her know, and I'll give you her information after this. But Alpha Chef is asking that there are so many amazing designers in this field. What advice would you give to starting jewelers to pursue their passion and make a living at the same time? Do you have advice for these young jewelers?
Yeah, maybe to deal with frustration very well, because this is very frustrating in many ways. I think when you devote your life to craft, you have to learn a lot with, you have to learn how to deal with frustration, because especially like new generations, everything is so immediate. Okay, I post a picture, I get a like, people like me. I show a cleavage, I get a like, people like me. But when you start doing this craft, it's going to take so long until people like you, and you have to put so much effort, so much work, so much sacrifice that a lot of people stay in the road. They don't even get to an end, because this is not for everybody. Either you love it, or you do something else, because this is going to be very difficult and not immediate at all. This is not immediate. This is not like instant satisfaction. One thing is getting a like in Instagram, and another totally different is selling a piece. There's no relation, no relation.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for that. We're getting a lot of people that are just saying wonderful work, fantastic, inspiring books. Biba, I want to let you know that Biba Schutz had signed up for this, and she is unable to make it, but she sent you an email saying that she loves Nico, no question. Just send him best wishes. So that was from Biba. I wanted to make sure to say that for you.
So one person was asking if everything I wear is mine. No.
Oh.
This is made by a family member. She's from Colombia, but not exactly family, but cousin from a cousin. She's a great jeweler. Her name is Ana Maria. This is made by me. This is made by Luis Comín. He's a jeweler from Barcelona who has become one of my best friends here. It's a man who I love very much. He showed me a different way of living. Like, he's a great friend. This is from Justified Sinner, David Alexander from the UK. He is in most of my books, and his work I love. This is my ring from Babson College from when I was a yuppie. These are two Precolumbian things for the nose. So these are more than 500 years old. This was the wedding ring from my father. This is my divorce ring. So it was my wedding ring, and when I got divorced, I put a skull on it so I didn't make that mistake again. Amber bracelet from Amber Show in Holland. Military bracelet from Military Show in Germany.
Wonderful, wonderful. You're getting a question about marketing, and what do you think Instagram is the best way to promote art? You use it a lot. That's one of your.
Well, the thing is that, okay, this is very honest. I do many things well. One of my weaknesses is getting a gallery. I don't have a gallery. This for me is very difficult. I have worked with galleries. Sometimes I work with one, but I don't have like a gallery who sells my work, who promotes myself. So and I have a studio. I don't have a shop. So my window to the world is my Instagram. So Instagram works very well for me. So I devote a lot of time to Instagram. But I cannot say, for some people, Instagram is amazing. For some others, it's not. But I think Instagram is for free. And but you have to put a lot of work. So this is for you to decide. So Instagram for me is very useful, and I like it very much. It's one of my favorite applications.
Okay, thank you. I have another question from Pei Wu, and she's wondering, do you think the pandemic will in some way change the way you think and make jewelry?
Totally.
Oh, this is a question from our Instagram group. We have this going on live right now.
Okay.
Totally, you say.
So this is something that we were discussing yesterday. Like, what are my plans for the future? There is no future anymore. I mean, before, like in February, I had everything already organized for my year. Everything changed. We cannot travel anymore. We cannot invite people to the studio. We cannot go shopping anymore. So everything changed. How is it going to change? I have no idea. For me, this is a moment of total uncertainty. I wouldn't say panic because I am not afraid of dying or getting the disease, but it's total uncertainty. We don't know. We don't know. Like before, you had a ring, one person tried it, then the other one tried it. Now this is not going to happen anymore. You will have to take out the ring. You will have to spray it with alcohol. You will have to clean it. Maybe the other person is going to look at the one who was wearing before and she's going to say, that guy I don't like so much. I am not going to try that ring. So everything is going to change so much. Like right now, we are going to start perceiving the other person as the one who is going to infect me, even though nobody, like very few people are infected. But everybody sees the virus walking in the other person. So this is going to change everything because what we do is for wearing. And who is going to wear what somebody else tried if we didn't disinfect? I don't know. This is something that we will have to start thinking again. Yeah. How are we going to do things from now on? It's very difficult.
Well, maybe we can do a follow-up to see how everybody's doing in maybe 6 months.
Yeah, maybe this disappears totally in 6 months. We don't know. This is what I tell you. There's so much uncertainty, so much.
Yeah. Well, I think we're at 12:01, and that time just flew by talking to you, Nico. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say?
If people have questions, they can write to my Instagram. I don't know.
That's perfect. They can email AJF.
Exactly. They can email AJF. I am a very easy person to reach. So just send questions and I will be very happy to answer.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Natalie, again, if you wouldn't mind putting the AJF link in the chat session so people can take a look at that. And if you missed any part of this, by next week, we'll have it on the website as a recording so you can catch it all. Thank you, Nico. I'm going to unmute everybody so that they can say goodbye to you in person.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Nico.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias. Gracias.
Yes.
Thank you very, very much. I am very, very grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gracias.
I have finished.
Gracias.
You're going to Toastmaster.
Thanks so much, Nicolas.
Okay.
Okay, Nico.
Oh, Sofia.
Hola.
Muchas gracias.
Oh,
Muchas
Karen and
gracias.
Michael.
Adiós.
Muchas gracias.
Adiós. Gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Rita.
Muchas gracias.
Bye, Brina.
Bye, Luis. Muchas gracias.
I like to see our face.
Bye, everyone.
Gracias.
Gracias a
Bye,
ustedes.
Audrey.
Thank you very, very much.
Gracias.
Muy contento con tanto público. Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Bye, Gail.
Bye.
Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Risa.
Bye, Nicholas.
I don't know how to do it.